Hey everybody, David Heavener here, and I'm with one of my favorite people, Coach Dave.
Amen, brother.
Hey, Coach.
Amen.
How are you?
I'm great.
Great. All right, so here's the first thing I want to bring up. Now, you and I could sit and talk for hours. I told you that, and that's just the tip of the iceberg, because I know your heart, and we've shared things. But here's the thing. The way I see you and I in this ministry is that we both work with teams.
Right.
You're a coach.
That's right.
You work with teams. I'm a filmmaker. I work with a team.
Right.
My goal is to get the movie done. Your goal is to win. Right?
Right.
What is the church doing? Isn't the church supposed to have a team? Is their goal to win? Or are they just playing the game?
Well, their goal is to watch the movie that you make, right? That's what it is. So we're in a culture and a society, David. I don't know if they've done it to us on purpose or not, but the end result of it is they've created spectator Christians. You know, the whole church thing, the way it's set up, you go in there, you watch people on the stage, they perform in the music, and then the next guy comes up and he performs, and then the pastor comes in and then he does the performance. Right. And, you know, you go from, I watch sometimes church services on Facebook on Sunday morning.
Right.
And you just change venue, it's the same thing.
It's the same thing.
It's the same thing over and over and over. So as a result, the guy sitting in the pew sees you as the filmmaker. He could never do what you do. You're the filmmaker, right? The pastor's the pastor.
He's up on a stage.
I couldn't do that.
No, and they got the musicians up on a stage like a rock concert.
That's exactly right. And so there's a very clear message that's being sent. They're the experts, and you're not.
Right. It's mind. It's propaganda. It's conditioning of the mind.
Right.
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 Oh, you're so right. I never thought about that.
So the problem becomes then I sit in the pew and I never think I can do it. I never think I can make a movie.
Right.
I can make a movie. I could take a cell phone. I could do that. Yeah. Well, I thought David does. Well, he does. He's been doing. He's got great experience. But if you hung out with David, he would teach you how to make a movie.
You're absolutely right.
Isn't that what the pastor's supposed to do? Teach me how to.
Right. Right.
Equip the saints for the work of the ministry, but they don't do that.
Right. Let me ask you a question. Why is there a stage in churches? Why do they elevate the pastor? Why do they elevate the musicians? They lift them up. What's the reason for that?
It goes clear back to Roman days when they would give lectures. They would put them up on the pedestal for two reasons. Number one, more people could see it, right? But it sent a very strong message. Just listen to this guy. You know, I watch sometimes, I don't watch it anymore, but I used to watch Johnny Carson, used to watch that late night television, Bill O'Reilly. Bill O'Reilly was a little bit higher than his guests. Bill was always looking down on his guests. Right? We say, well, he's 6'5". Yeah, that's true, but no, he's looking down. So there's a very subtle message coming. This is the expert.
Exactly. Well, the same way in the film industry. Whenever I have a character that wants to overpower another person, I put the camera down low and I shoot up at him.
Oh, it makes a difference.
Yeah, and then the victim, I raise the camera and I shoot down. So here's my solution, is they ought to bulldoze all the churches and start digging holes and putting the preacher and the musicians in a hole and let the audience be in risers and look down on them. You know, and this is what I love about sports. Even though we do lift sports figures up, but I love the fact the audience sits in bleachers above and looks down at the players. And I think that's keeps a form of humbleness.
Well, David, it's even more than that if you don't mind as a football coach, right?
Yeah.
I was down on the sidelines. Imagine a football stadium. So I'm down on the sidelines. I got all the team around me. I got headphones on. And why do I have headphones on? Because I'm talking to a guy who's up at the top. He's up there and he's relaying to me what the other team's doing because I see it flat. I can't see it, you know.
Right.
And I say, hey, where's the nose man lined up? And he can tell me because he's high and he can say it. So the important thing to understand is God sits high and looks low, right?
Right.
So we have this very flat vision of what's going on when he's up there and he can see what the enemy's doing and he's trying to direct this and we need to do this. And most of us don't even have the headphones on.
I know.
We're not even, we got our own plan, right?
I know, and I watch you speak, and your main, at least the way I get it, is your main objective is to build a team.
That's right.
And you understand, and I understand, without a team, that Jesus built a team. He
did.
made disciples who made disciples.
He did.
Okay?
Yeah.
So in order for me to get a film done, I've got to build a team.
You do.
In order for you to win a game, you've got to build a team. So what can the church do? What's the first step? A pastor out there listening, okay, David, Coach, I hear what you're saying. I have a little church here. And by the way, guys or girls, if you're out there and you got a church, I don't care if you got 3 people sitting in your congregation or you've got 30,000. It doesn't matter. Mm-hmm. It does not matter to God. What can they do? What can you give? The first thing they can do when they walk in the pulpit Sunday morning, what can that pastor do?
Well, I was a real coach, football coach for 35 years. And when I left teaching and coaching, David, to do what I do now, people would ask me if I miss coaching. Do you miss it? And I would think about it and I would ponder on it. Or they'd say, what do you miss most? And then, you know what the Lord showed me? I miss the scoreboard.
Oh.
Because at any point during the game, I knew if I was ahead or if I was behind.
Oh.
I knew if we were being successful or whether we were not being successful. So the biggest problem we have in our churches today is the pastors don't know what the scoreboard is. They're looking for a scoreboard, and they're measuring butts and bucks and programs and all that. And so the first thing the guy's got to do when he goes into it, I heard a story about Lou Holtz, the old football coach at the University of Notre Dame. They said he would start out every first meeting with his football team every year. He would walk in and he'd hold up a football and he would say, "Gentlemen, this is a football." Basics, right?
Yeah, it's a basic. Going back to basics.
Yeah. So if a pastor doesn't know what the scoreboard is and what he's trying to do.
Okay, so elaborate on that just for a second. What does that mean, scoreboard? In other words, to a pastor, what would
how do you measure whether you're being successful or not? Right.
Okay. And what does that mean?
Well, what does that mean? Because first of all, the Lord calls us to be faithful, not successful, right?
Right.
So the scoreboard is your faithfulness to do what it is, your obedience to do what it is.
Okay.
And to train the people in the church to be faithful and obedient.
Okay, so what I think I hear you saying, correct me if I'm wrong, is the church gets together, they pray, the body of believers, and they go, Lord, what is the purpose you've given us as a body in this little town of, or Walla Walla, Washington? What are we supposed to do? So God gives a vision for the church, and that vision will create the scoreboard. So as you're moving forward, and let me give you an example, what's close to your heart and mine is abortion. Now, I don't like the word abortion. You know what I want to say? I want to say murder.
Amen.
We've taken this thing about pro-life, anti-life, abortion, and everybody's become numb. I say it's murdering babies.
Amen.
So I think there should be churches out there, I pray to God, and I know there are, that God has laid in your heart, Pastor, we're to pray for the babies. Not only that, the scoreboard. Now that you pray, what do?
Well, you have to. The scoreboard is you go score some points, right? You go play the game, right?
Exactly.
So we would say to people. I run to a lot of people, David, who say they're pro-life. The church is pro-life. I said, oh, really? What do you do? What do you do to stop the killing of the unborn? And they don't really have an answer. We pray. Well, good.
Well, yeah, but where's the scoreboard?
What is the scoreboard, right?
I mean, you can pray.
But I learned this one, though. This is really, really important. My buddy Flip Benham, pro-life activist, is a long time, a pioneer in it. He says, Coach, listen, it's not about saving babies. It's about lifting up Christ. He said, when you go to the abortion clinic, you hope to save babies. Yeah. But if your goal is to save babies, you're going to be one disappointed guy because it isn't going to happen.
Right.
But you go and you lift up Christ. You preach Christ all the time. So we don't do that.
Right.
I mean, we do. We preach Christ in the church.
Right.
But David, the average guy, cannot leave the church and go preach Christ. He doesn't know how to do it.
I know. That's right?
So you're making films, right?
Yeah.
You want a director who knows what he's doing. You want a producer who knows what, sound guy,
right?
A lighting guy.
Right.
You don't want some bum just coming off the street, right?
No, they each have to know their position.
You got to know what to do. And so we don't even know. Our guys in the church don't even know what their positions are.
Well, that's the thing. When God gave me The Last Evangelist, which you know about, it's a TV series about the end times,
right.
The first thing God told me is he said, build a team. He said, David, build your God's team.
Right. He's got a team.
He's got a team. He said, don't worry about going out and just making the series. He goes, you're going to make a series and then you got no one to show it to, and you have no team. God said, build a team. Coach Dave, I have to ask you this question, but I want to do it in part 2 of our interview.
All right, babe.
I want to ask you, when we come back, what can we do to reach the young people?
Oh, man.
Okay?
Yep, yep.
Thank you for being with us. God bless you. And thanks, Coach.
Honor. Bless you.